look really familiar. I've seen you before, haven't I?
Barry.
Barry.
Barry Allen.
Right.
It's fun.
Sorry.
Some people are just meant to be in your life.
What am I going to do with you?
Well, I can think of a few things. Might need a stretch first, though. You told me the dead don't want anything. Either I'm willing to do whatever is necessary, or I shouldn't be up there.
Which is exactly why I can't be.
You can't kill murder. You can't get revenge on evil. You can only fight them where they live.
All right.
Okay, moving on. Lucifer.
My Little Monkey.
Yeah, written by Tara Nicole Weir, directed by Jen Cow.
Very nice. So my A story is please no Dad Patros, because we would call the storyline on Castle with Beckett's mother the Mom Patros.
Oh, is that where that's from?
So I'm hoping that this is the end of the dad story and we do not have this carried on for a million seasons.
Let's hope so. But I like that we got some backstory on Chloe's dad.
A little more backstory?
A little more backstory. They kind of showed everything.
Yeah.
With him actually dying and stuff.
Right.
And they kind of laid it out nicely, right. I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no Dad Patros,
right.
Please.
B.
No dragging it out over
right.
seasons.
This is leave it, cut it here, move on.
Right. I'm good with that.
Yeah. B story.
B story. Lasting impressions. Impressions.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes, of a certain detective douche.
And of a certain Lucifer.
True.
Okay. C story. Usefully on the bounty.
And that would obviously be Mazikeen.
That's right.
Who has now found herself an occupation at last.
A useful occupation as a bounty hunter.
All right.
So the Dad Patros.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
You came up with it.
We went, well, I'm used to saying Ma Patros, which is much easier to say.
I granted. Dad Patros.
Dad Patros. Dad Patros.
You could say Papatros.
Papatros. That's better.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Free of charge.
Thank you. So the man who played Chloe's dad is actually married to Leslie Ann Brandt in real life.
Right.
Mazikeen, which is awesome, I thought. And in the show, we get to see more of the father-daughter relationship that Chloe had. And I like that she had a wonderful relationship with her father, because the relationship we saw between her and her mother is not exactly...
She had to have at least one healthy relationship. So thankfully it was with her dad. And we do get this flashback at a local convenience store where we see Chloe's father. He's a cop. He's talking to a man behind the counter when this dude in a hoodie shows up, holds them both at gunpoint, and then he gets gunned down before the other man is robbed, and the robber gets away.
Mm-hmm. And they end up pulling in the guy, and he serves time.
Right.
And Chloe has always felt like there's something more to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she became a cop, because of the whole thing with her dad.
And then she gets a phone call that, oh, guess what? The guy who was in prison for your father's murder is being released.
Right.
On family leave in order to attend his granddaughter's christening.
Yeah. So, she goes to the prison.
Rampage! Sorry, I was thinking Archer. Rampage! Danger zone!
Yes. Terms of enrampagement.
Nice.
So she goes to the prison and watches the guy walk out, and he seemingly smiles at her, which to her it's like,
yeah.
You did it. But that's not exactly the case, as we find out later. But it doesn't look great, because he gets in the bus to take him off
This transport van.
campus,
Yeah.
whatever Leo is.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting shot and killed. And of course, the crime scene people show up and
Guess who?
realize she was there. Yeah, it's Dan, Lucifer. And when she was there, it doesn't look great for her that she was there when he got gunned down.
A slight conflict of interest.
Right. So Dan is going to take the case. She's going to recuse herself.
There you
And
go.
Lucifer begs to help Dan because he wants to try and emulate Dan because he's a likable fellow.
Well, I think what's going on with Lucifer is that he hates himself so much at the moment that he's trying to, like, okay, people seem to like Dan, so maybe I should be more like you.
Right.
So yes, he starts to, like, dress like Dan. He parts his hair like Dan.
Right.
If you noticed.
Yep, I did.
So
He does everything like that. Plus, he
got the hoodie, rocking the hoodie.
he does an American accent for a little bit,
Yes.
which was hilarious. I thought that was funny. I love when he shows up in the hoodie with the coat with the little, like, a windbreaker over it or a leather jacket, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And Dan says, well, thanks for showing up. You know, what were you doing? And he was like, sorry, it was time for a costume change. And he goes, oh, well, that jacket looks nice. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah,
And
it takes Dan a while to figure out, like, hey, Lucifer's dressed just like me.
Right. And Lucifer says, well, you know, I wanted to kind of get in character for my Dan lessons, even if it does mean I have to wear skinny jeans.
Yeah. And he's trying to, like, he mimics Dan's moves behind his back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's trying to, his old mannerisms and whatnot.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Very funny.
I like it a lot. And Dan is not taking it 100% in good humor.
No. Understandably. That would get really annoying, somebody tried to impersonate you.
Yeah, there's some irritation happening, but he is helping Dan, so it's not like Dan's going to shoo him away. And they end up calling in people and going through the case. And, you know, the case isn't terribly important except to Chloe.
Well, it's kind of important for Chloe, but yeah. So
I said except to Chloe.
that's true. You're right.
I mean, the Dan and Lucifer storyline is more important in regards to Dan and Lucifer.
Yeah. Well, we find out her dad was like, even though he's only a beat cop, he was sniffing around somewhere he wasn't wanted.
Right.
And and so he got on the wrong person's radar. Guess what? That person turned out to be the prison's warden.
The administrator. Whatever. Yeah.
I just thought it was.
Yeah,
warden,
he's a warden dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that guy set up a hit on her dad. And,
right.
Yeah. And so they caught him at the end. And here's one point I really liked is that Maze and Lucifer were there when they caught him.
Right, because Mazakeen tracked the guy down.
Right.
And gagged him, bound him, gagged him. Like, wrapped him up like a Christmas present. Oh, yeah.
Right. And, Chloe said, well, then I'll take him in. And Lucifer said, wait a minute. Whatever you want to do, we're not here to judge you. And they kind of gave her that safe space, you know, we're not going to tell on you.
Well, they kind of stand off to the side. Yeah, they're just like off to the side. They're going, you know, if you want to have at it, go right ahead. We're not,
right.
Yeah, we're cool with it. We're actually kind of into it if you want to
right.
go.
Right, exactly.
You know, we're just be over here eating popcorn.
Right, exactly. And I like that they gave her that safe space, even though it was wrong. It was kind of freeing, I think, to her to be able to make that choice.
Right.
Of what to do. And then she says
she held that guy's life in her hands.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And she said to the guy, you know what? I think I'm going to put you in jail because you're going to be in there with all those other guys that you've lorded over for so many years. They are not going to treat you well. And that guy was like, no, just kill me. Yeah. He was very unhappy about that. So, and May's got money. for
Right.
bringing the guy in, and that was her job. Which,
Well, yeah, that got her the idea like, oh, I guess I'm a bounty hunter now.
right,
So she takes
Yeah,
that check to go see Dr. Linda.
right.
Who's
This episode saw her trying to find a job in order to pay for her half of the apartment,
Right.
and she goes to Dr. Linda to try and kind of work through some stuff. And
Earlier in the episode.
Dr. Linda isn't very receptive.
No, Dr. Linda's still kind of freaked out over Lucifer showing her his real face.
Right. Mazikeen doesn't know that, though. So she tries to get in, and then she comes in the window, and I like how Dr. Linda's like, "You don't teleport, do you?" And then Maze is like, "No, the window is open." And then she slowly comes to the realization, "Oh, Lucifer told you." And then Linda says, "Yeah, you're a demon. Yeah, how can I be friends with you?" And she says, "I'm the same person," which is like one of the truest statements ever.
Right.
You know, I am the same person that you talked to last week.
Well, it's almost like a metaphor for, like being like someone having to come out of who they are.
Right, exactly.
And having people around them accept them.
Right. And she gets shown the door by Dr. Linda because she can't be friends with her. And Maze is just devastated because Linda was one of her very true friends, one of the only people that she had a connection to.
So did Dr. Linda drop some points in your eyes in this episode?
At the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
At the beginning. I was very upset with her. Well, I was upset with her last week when she didn't.
Yeah.
And I can see having a period of time where you're like, okay, that just happened. You know?
But you got to get over it.
Right. You do. Because ultimately,
if you're
it
a
is
professional,
the same person. Right. It is the same person.
And you just had one of your patients try to open up to you, and you reject him.
What you just asked him to do.
Right. So you be careful what you wish for then, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, she's the exact same person. And you've had time to come to terms with it. So what were you expecting? Were you expecting her never to show up?
Right.
Yeah. So later in the episode, when she does come by with the check, she puts the check under the door. And she shows her how proud she is. And she says, I got my first check ever, and I just wanted to show my friend, I wanted to tell her that I earned my first check, and I wanted her to.
Right. Mazikeen's actually reaching out to Linda because she does consider her a friend.
Right. And they're both kind of on each side of the door, and just as Maze is about to walk away, she opens the door, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I was very...
It's like, I don't have to hate Dr. Linda now.
Right. And so they go out for drinks, and I'm thinking, well, at least there's a tentative sort of allowing her back. Now,
she's still got to patch things up with Lucifer.
Yeah. And let's hope so. Because that's going to be something different. He's not a demon. He is Lucifer.
Right.
So that's...
Now, maybe Mazikeen will help bridge that.
I hope so.
So we'll find out.
Mazikeen's going to have to talk to her about it. And then I have to talk about the impressions.
Yes.
This helped to bridge a gap between Dan and Lucifer because Lucifer shows up, he follows Dan, and he shows up at an improv class where, lo and behold, Dan is doing a pretty decent impression of Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads him to be indignant and say, you're making fun of me. And Dan says, you do it every day, all day, to me. And they come to a sort of understanding that Lucifer might be making fun of him, but he's also kind of saying that he envies him because he's so likable and that, people gravitate towards him and people don't like him and they kind of brush up against him like sandpaper and all that. And they end up sort of understanding each other a little better in that moment. Now, whether that bonds them more or not, I hope it does, but I don't know whether that does or not.
They seem to be making an effort to bring Lucifer and Dan closer together as friends. Or at least, where they can... Lucifer may, tease Dan, but I think he at least respects him more, maybe?
I think so, yeah. And I think he understands that Dan now knows that he is doing it out of a sort of grudging respect for the fact that Dan is likable.
Right. Well, I think there was that initial, at least in season 1, Dan was breaking up with Chloe.
Competition.
And and he was probably feeling protective of Chloe. And so there's that kind of butting heads. But now the time has passed in different circumstances.
Right.
And that Dan and Chloe have kind of come to terms with their marriage. That now they're just trying to make the best of the situation. And maybe Lucifer is starting to make that shift.
Right. I agree. And then there was time at the very end of the episode when Chloe is cooking, she's cooked Hawaiian bread. And she has a talk with Trixie about how her dad used to cook her Hawaiian bread after acting lessons, and she gives Trixie the bread, and Trixie goes off. And then she talks to Lucifer, and Lucifer is talking to her, and Lucifer says, I think your dad would be proud of you. Right? And then she just kind of stands there and looks at him, and then she goes, oh, screw it, or something like that, and then she goes in for the hug. And Lucifer is just like, I have no idea what is happening here. And then he just gives in, and he gives her the hug, and he kind of puts his head down on her head.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, that is maybe the first time he understands what compassion might feel like for someone else. Don't you think that is kind of the first time he gets that feeling of, I'm showing her compassion?
I think so. I think, that's a good point to bring up.
Yeah. And it was, without any sort of selfishness on his part at all. It was just complete giving to her.
I think Lucifer is in a very transitional stage right now. And I think he's having his own breakthroughs.
Agreed.
Which seemed to be a pretty common theme this week in our shows.
Yeah, very. So there was that, and I love that scene at the end. It was a really great scene.
It was aw.
It was aw.
Aw.
So what do you give it?
I enjoyed this episode a lot. I enjoyed Lucifer with Dan. I thought that was hilarious. Loved Mazikeen in this episode. Felt bad for her with Dr. Linda, but it's kind of, I liked seeing her at the end there with Chloe's father's killer wrapped up like a Christmas present.
Yeah,
that was great. Looking all like, hey, look what I got.
I got him. And it ended up okay with Dr. Linda too.
Exactly. So I give this one 8.5 out of 10 douche hoodies.
Excellent.
You like that one?
I like it very much.
The douche hoodies.
It made me chuckle when I looked at it.
All right, what's your rating, Karen?
I gave it 8.5 first paychecks. We were right on.
Excellent. We're in sync.
In sync on that one.
All right, moving on.
Arrow 506. So it begins.
Yes, written by showrunner Wendy Miracle and Brian Ford Sullivan, directed by John Baring.
Wendy Miracle.
Yes. You got some splaining to do. Yeah.
A story.
Wendy, all I need is a miracle.
Yeah. Except for we don't get them very often.
This show needs a miracle.
The flashbacks are good this season. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
A story, always with the algorithms. Every week it's a new algorithm.
That's a go-to plot device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
B story, team players.
Right.
And C story, an American playboy in Russia.
Very nice. I like that one.
And I'm doing this right here for Justina and Phil. I don't need to be the one to tell you that having a citywide panic is like the worst thing that can happen before this festival. There you go.
Very nice.
That is such a Thea line. I thought I'd quote it for you guys completely because she was like right in the middle of it. She's supposed to be so professional, and she just says, "Like the worst thing that can happen."
Did you roll off your chair just laughing at that?
Yes, I did. I did. I heard her say "like," and my head shot up like, "What?"
Like a dog.
Right. And I said, "I got to put that quote in the document so that I could say it." Because
Too funny.
that is the perfect thing for me to say in her act.
I love that. While we're on the subject of Thea, that scene where she confronts Quentin about his drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to scream at her, going, "You knew he was an alcoholic.
Of course.
Why are you surprised that he's still drinking?
Right. He was drinking the first time you saw him back in the
It's not
city.
like he quit.
Right.
You knew this.
Right.
Why are you shocked?"
Right. And then she says, "Well, the second A is for anonymous." Yeah, because that's not juicy enough for someone to break that code.
Oh
right?
my god! Oh, and I love the fact that Thea just puts together a music festival in like a day or so.
Of course.
Because Thea.
I can put together anything in a day. In a big auditorium.
Oh, I just make a call, and these guys will show up, and it'll just be like magic.
I know, right?
You guys.
You guys, for
Oh my
sure.
Oh my god!
Thanks for showing up, everybody. I'm happy.
I have some cocaine for you in the corner.
I have to because I'm never this happy normally. Normally I'm like, come on, guys.
Too funny.
All right, so always with the algorithms.
Classic.
Thank you.
Classic.
This week they came to a breakthrough that Prometheus is killing people whose names can be what is that called?
What?
They're
Anagram?
Anagrams of names from his book.
Yes. Yeah, we get the long-awaited return of The List.
That's right.
Remember The List, that thing in season 1 that was such a big deal,
Right.
and then they conveniently got rid of it halfway through the season?
Well, he realized that it was wrong to do that.
Right. So that whole thing and it's not that we made our whole show about this, and then we kind of started getting feedback about that maybe it wasn't a great idea to make Green Arrow a killer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did figure out why the list was there. It was to stop the undertaking, and so he decided that he would just stop the undertaking instead. That's what the show did.
Yeah.
So they found out that it was whoever, Prometheus, was drawing attention to the fact that dun dun dun
dun dun dun
that Oliver was a serial killer.
Yeah,
He's a serial killer. Oliver's a serial killer. But
apparently Team Arrow, the recruits, have not pieced together that, oh surprise, the Hood, the Arrow, and Green Arrow were the same guy.
Right.
Right?
I never thought of that until this episode when he was like, yeah, I had this book and I used it 4 years ago, and they were like, 4 years ago? Wasn't that the Hood? Yeah. And then Felicity goes, yeah, the Hood, the Arrow, the Green Arrow, it's all Oliver.
Yeah, apparently she has to lay this out for them because they're not smart enough to piece this together on their own.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
Even, Mr. Terrific could not piece this together.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It is dumb.
That Curtis couldn't put it together.
Curtis at least should have pieced this together like that. But,
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that, and they actually pieced that together, which is, I think it's pretty far-fetched that they pieced together that the names were anagrams for names that were in the book. Right?
Right.
Pretty far-fetched. I don't know how they did that.
It seems like a lot of trouble.
It is. It's an algorithm, though.
Yes.
They used an algorithm.
Well, they're like, I'm Felicity. I get to talk about an algorithm. Yay!
Right. And then they used another algorithm to compare.
Algorithms everywhere.
Right. They took the algorithm of all the other names in the book and compared them to all the citizens of Star City. And they came up with 6 people.
Right.
Really? It would have been more like 30 or 40 people. But hey, whatever.
Yeah.
So there were 6 people for exactly the number of people on Team Arrow.
Wendy Miracle wrote this episode, just saying.
Oh, I know. So they go out and they try to cover all of them, and it ends up being this train driver, and it's the chick who has the most trouble with Oliver being a serial killer, of course.
It's Evelyn.
Right. And she turns off her communicator conveniently because she's mad.
Right.
She's having a pout session. I don't like you being a serial killer. I still blame you. I don't like it. She's like a mini Thea right now.
My family died.
Wah.
Wah.
And I blame you.
She's like Thea. She's Thea Junior.
Yes. All she needs is a red outfit.
Well, you know, Thea got old, so we have to get bring in a new Thea.
Right. Thea's like the worst thing that can happen.
Karen's biggest nightmare is like a spotlight episode on Thea and Evelyn.
Yeah, it is my worst nightmare. And Felicity.
And Felicity Felicity's selling as
to
tech
be
support.
the referee. Yeah. Ugh. I don't mind them. They're just written so badly.
The women deserve better on this show.
They do. They really do.
And you would think with a woman as co-showrunner,
I know, right?
they would get better.
You would think.
You would think, right?
Yeah. There's 2 female showrunners on Supergirl, and look what they can do there.
I think they're doing light years better than what Wendy Miracle was doing on Arrow.
Agreed.
Sorry, I know people are Arrow fans, and that's great. I don't want to discourage that, but
there's reasons to be fans of Arrow, but they are not happening this season so much.
Now, granted, it's better than last season.
Yes.
So
not this episode though.
The flashbacks, not this episode.
The flashbacks, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, they save the guy on the train, and what's his name?
Yeah, Prometheus shows up.
Right, Prometheus gets away, but they save the guy on the train with the parachute arrow, which is pretty awesome, I thought.
Yep, we've seen that before, though.
Yeah, I like that arrow.
It is a cool arrow, granted,
and
yes.
I think one of my favorite things in the whole episode is when they go to this street fair where people are firing guns everywhere because they're paranoid about Prometheus, which is the worst storyline ever. That they're paranoid about Prometheus, so they show up and they shoot guns in the air. But Oliver ends up shooting an arrow into the barrel of a guy's gun, which is awesome.
That's a classic Green Arrow move.
I know, it is awesome.
So that was cool. I did geek on that. That was cool.
Right. That was amazing. And the guy's like, hey, that's my gun.
Can I bring up something that just bugged the crap out of me about this episode?
Sure.
One of many, but one especially thing that bugged me was they kept referring to shurikens in this episode as throwing stars.
They're not.
Every character in this show, including Oliver, including characters that should know better.
Right, they're shurikens.
They kept referring to them as throwing stars.
Right.
They're shuriken.
Right. I know. I played ninja in a game. I know.
Oliver was in Japan. He should know this.
I know. But they don't want to say shuriken because we won't know the difference between...
Guess what? We know. We've watched enough martial arts movies to know what they're called.
I know. But again, Wendy Miracle doesn't give us that.
No, it's just pandering.
She doesn't give us the benefit of the doubt.
Pandering.
Right.
Yeah.
They are shurikens, though, because of the shape and all that. And we find out that they're made from his arrows. And that it came from someone in the SCPD.
Right. So are we pretty much convinced that Prometheus is Billy at this point?
I'm thinking it might be.
I was hoping for someone else by the name of Tommy Merlin, but
I want it to be Tommy Merlin so bad.
But the way they seem to be setting this up, and because they have to break up Billy and Felicity to get them back together with Oliver, get her back together with Oliver.
So,
and if it is this SCTV, and they try to do this red herring at the end.
Yeah, it's not him.
With Quentin. It's not Quentin. They have him waking up. All right, so all this drinking he's been doing, yeah, we're supposed to buy that, oh, he has a cut on his arm and he has a throwing star on his table. So therefore, guess what? He must be Prometheus.
Right.
No, we're not buying that.
No, not at all.
And if they do make it that is the dumbest move ever.
Yeah, it's not true.
It's not that they're not going to do it.
It can't be that. So, yeah, I'm guessing it is, and I'm guessing that little thing where he's shocked that Felicity works for him and tries, ooh, where does he live?
Yeah,
you get a scarred face.
Apparently he's an Arrow fanboy.
He's trying to get information, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
I think so.
Okay. So we're thinking it's him, yeah. And when he starts questioning her, I'm guessing he's thinking that's a gold mine.
Right.
No. So the fact that she revealed that she works for the Green Arrow is kind of a giveaway that it's him. Yeah. So there's that. And then his little arrowlets. This is the team player thing. They rebel again, and they come right back to him again. How many times is this going to happen?
This is such a cycle with this show.
I know.
Oh, we have trust issues. Oh, we're good. Okay, next week. Oh, we learned something else about Oliver. Oh, we have trust issues again.
Oh, we're good.
No, we have to repair. We're back in.
Right. Yeah, it's dumb. So
it's
that's
repetitive.
Team players, and also Quentin is part of the team player storyline with the I'm drinking again and all that. So there's him, and I think he is totally not Prometheus. It's stupid that they're even setting that up. I don't think anyone believes that's true. If you do,
it's insulting to our intelligence by doing this.
Right, I agree. And it's not that I don't think he would be that. I think he is plenty strong and cunning enough, but not when he's drunk and all that.
Yeah.
It's just not true. And he doesn't have a beef against Oliver right now.
Right. There's no motive.
There's no axe to grind. Right.
I mean, granted, he's still upset about, losing Laurel, but yeah.
But he's not going to place that on Oliver. That's all Damien.
No.
So, yeah. Oliver actually got Damien.
Unless this is a master stroke of acting that I'm pretending to be drunk when I'm really Prometheus, but then why would he wake up and go like, okay, what's this here for?
Right.
By himself with nobody watching.
It's just dumb.
It is dumb. All right. So let's talk about
the flashbacks.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah. That was pretty cool, and he looks good.
Ivan Drago.
He looks exactly the same as he did 30 years ago, doesn't he?
I wanted so bad for Dolph Lundgren to grab Oliver by the shirt or something, going, "I will break you." I wanted that so bad.
And go nose to nose.
Yes,
right?
go nose to nose. I will break you.
Yeah. He was about that menacing. He was right up in his face.
Yeah. He's getting all up in his grill.
Yep, making drinks and telling him, "I'm Kovar."
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was kind of funny because he's kind of lounging. He's got a drink right by his side. His shirt's kind of collar's open, and he's just all Mr. Casual and
right.
I've been waiting to meet you,
Oliver Queen. Yes. I am Kovar.
Yes. Yeah.
Oliver's been tasked by Anatoly to invest, yeah, in a casino.
Yeah, that's his cover.
As his international playboy persona.
The Bruce Wayne, basically, be Bruce Wayne.
Right. Be a douchey.
Yeah, millionaire or whatever, yeah.
Right.
Playboy.
Right. And he pretends to be that. And I like that Anatoly's little other lackey guy is like, "You play douche very well."
Yes, that was good. That was a good line.
Right.
I'll give him that. That was a good line.
Yeah, and they take out the other guy and they plant some explosives, and before they can set them off, they get ambushed and taken in by Kovar's men. Anatoly's other guy gets killed.
Yep.
And
then Anatoly gets his neck snapped.
So this is where we lose Anatoly. And Kovar decides he wants to talk to Oliver Queen. I have been waiting to meet you.
I will break you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's where we leave that. But it was more compelling.
Now, if you remember, Dolph Lundgren played the Punisher.
Yep.
And he was then
the
original Punisher movie. So we've got Arrow versus the Punisher.
That's right. And I'm really waiting to see what happens next. That's the more compelling storyline right now.
Right.
Is it not?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So what do you give this episode?
I think I was surprised I was more generous than you, and I thought it was kind of hard, but apparently not. 7.5 red herring arm cuts, because we're not falling. Red herring all over the place. We're not falling for that.
I'm not falling for it. And I wasn't that much lower, 7. And I said, hopefully empty elevated trains because it blew up.
Well, they got the conductor out.
Yeah, but what if there were any other people?
Details. Who cares?
Yeah, the whole train blew up and the tracks and everything else.
Details.
Yeah. Talk about serial killers. All right, Legends of Tomorrow. 205.
A better show.
Yes.
Yeah, written by Kato Shimizu and Granny Godfrey, who always reminds me of Granny Goodness.
Yeah. All right.
Directed by David Geddes.
All right. Oh, that's cool. Good director.
Yep.
And
the special guest star this week on Legends of Tomorrow.
Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen, who is a big genre vet. Bishop from Aliens, among Frank Black on Millennium, and
I love Millennium.
I love Millennium too.
Show.
So that was a good show. He's awesome. I wish that Netflix would get Millennium because I want to watch.
I want
to watch those again.
Yeah. Okay, so a story is I almost died in your arms tonight.
Nice.
The
Cutting Crew.
Died in your arms tonight. I had that album.
I hate the 80s.
I hate the 80s. Okay.
Heatwave is the absolute best on this show.
He is. I love him.
He steals every damn scene he's in.
He does. He chews up the scenery all the time.
Ever since Snart, died and everything, that he feels free, to be the comic relief, and it's great.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, B story is Ein Dummerstein.
Yeah.
Which means
a dumb
Stein.
Well, you would just say dumb. The ER is like a...
I actually put it in the translator, and that's what it gave me.
Okay. Well, maybe it's idiom then. Because I took 3 years of German, but that might be an
idiom. With the E on the end, is that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ein Dumm Stein then.
Well, no, I take that back because he is it's more of a masculine noun, so therefore it would, that's probably the way they modify their adjectives.
Okay, whichever it is.
Yeah. To
make it German, a dumb Stein.
Yeah, okay. Let's go with that.
But it's because I wanted it to say Einstein.
Right, I got it.
Okay, so let's just make it less complicated.
No, that was cool. I thought that was very clever.
Okay. And the C story is Hadron.
Hadroff. The clapper.
The collider.
The collider.
And
that's probably my favorite title this week.
Thank you.
I love that.
Now, that is because that little time machine thing that they do at the end.
The time sphere.
Right. With
Eobard
and
Damien Dark.
Damien, thank you.
You're welcome.
That is most likely the hadron effect of making a fast enough
particle accelerator
to make a wormhole so that you could go forward in time.
Right.
So.
What I don't get though is why doesn't it's a time sphere? Does it not have its own power source to go through time?
Not in the 80s.
But
I'm guessing he couldn't do that.
all he could do was just build the sphere, but he didn't have the power.
Right. So he
Okay.
makes his own power,
Right. Okay.
and then he just has him sit in it. He
Yeah.
makes his own power, and then he goes through right at the last minute. So I
Okay.
looked it up and everything, and it said you could use a Hadron Collider to do it, and I went, Hadron!
Yep.
Awesome! And I did that little.
I like that. That's my favorite this week, I think.
Thank you very much.
Well played.
Okay, so I almost died in your arms tonight, and that happened a couple times, but this is mostly in reference to, of course, Lance Hendrickson, our guest star, Henriksen. I know
Yep.
there's a D in it.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic in this episode. He might have been my favorite part of this episode.
Yeah. And I was really glad that they played up his Obsidian's gay character trait because that's straight from the comics. So it's not like they made another superhero gay. So
No.
relax, everybody.
He is, and
But-
he's a main part of the JSA.
That was a main part of his character, and I was going to be really pissed if they overlooked that because that's his. But they didn't. So
they were also drawing attention to the fact that Vixen is kind of making a big deal over Our Man's death, and why would she do that? And the fact that there's a reason for that is that they were going to make a life together.
Right, they were going to leave the JSA, which I don't get this whole we're not going to fraternize business in the JSA because in the comics they hang out together all the time. They have Thanksgiving dinner. What's up with this no fraternizing in the JSA? That's not the JSA I know.
Right. But whatever.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
When
Didn't
did this
some
happen?
JSA members get married?
Yeah, I mean, you had Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Their son is the Silver Scarab.
Right.
You had Wonder Woman. Well, she got involved with Steve Trevor. They had Fury.
Right. So there were lots of relationships.
There were plenty of relationships.
Well, in this continuity, apparently, there was a no fraternization policy.
Why?
And then Vixen and Our Man were going to leave the JSA and go off together. And of course, Our Man dying kind of put the kibosh on those plans. So this is her personal vendetta. And she shared that with Obsidian. And that was the natural way for Obsidian's relationship to come out. It wasn't a, hey, I'm gay sort of revelation. It was a, hey, that's why I decided to retire with my boyfriend.
Right.
And I like that we find out that she never did go back to the JSA because it is time travel.
Right.
So we could have found out that she actually did go back to the JSA.
Unless time changes.
Right, that's true.
Because time can be rewritten.
That's right.
As anyone who watches Doctor Who knows.
Yes, and we do have
Or The Flash.
A younger Obsidian cast. Remember?
Yes,
So,
that was the younger Obsidian that was in the first couple of episodes this season.
Right, and he is supposedly coming back.
Right.
So we will see them again.
So maybe they go back to the 1940s for some reason. We don't know.
Perhaps.
Or for whatever reason they time travel.
Mm-hmm. That JSA time travel.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we got to see him in the 80s. And
1987, the year I graduated high school.
Oh, very nice. Yep. 1 year after I graduated high school, which, it was horrible flashback time. Horrible flashback time.
Yep.
The Cold War talks and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, because the plot of this episode is that Nate discovers that the latest aberration of the week involves the INF Treaty.
Mm-hmm. Which is the dissolution of the Cold War.
Right.
Where Gorbachev and Reagan signed the treaty and ending the Cold War between the United States and...
So kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal, yes. And Damien wants to kind of end that before it gets started.
Yeah, apparently he's somehow wormed his way in there as a treaty negotiator.
Mm-hmm. but
which is awkward.
it's also kind of working on the sly.
Yeah, it turns out old
Technology.
Damien Dark is kind of like making some secret deals with the KGB.
Hmm. And I love how he's giving them a compact disc,
A CD-ROM. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which is cutting edge of technology.
That was
in
almost my rating this week. I was going to go CD-ROMs, but I thought it was a little too obvious.
Oh, see, that would have been good.
Yeah.
But I thought that was funny. I was like, a compact disc, the leading edge of technology, and then I thought back and I was like, 1987.
Well, that was the year I got a CD player for the first time.
Yeah, I think it was about the time.
I remember my first three albums. I got the Police's greatest hits of Every Breath You Take, the singles.
Mhm.
I got U2's The Joshua Tree
Mhm.
and REM's Green.
Nice. I think I got REM as well
Yeah,
on compact disc. I'm trying to
that
think
was
what
my first 3 CDs.
It might have been a Barbara Streisand one for me because
Ooh,
I was, I was Glee. That was my life
That's
back
true.
then.
that's true.
With Broadway musicals and all that. I can't remember, but I also liked hard rock and punk and all kinds of other
Yep.
stuff too. So
Yep.
I liked everything, but Barbara Streisand was my jam back then. So
Barbara
yeah.
Streisand was my jam. I think it's the first time anybody's ever said those words ever.
It's not true. I bet someone else has said them.
Hopefully not seriously.
I said them seriously though.
Okay.
That's terrible, right? I'm sorry. I still like Barbara Streisand.
Then that's okay. That's okay. We'll let it slide.
Safe space, right?
We'll let it slide. It's a safe.
Let it slide?
It's a safe space here.
It's not letting it slide. It's celebrating the fact that I like Barbara Streisand.
I love that you're secure in yourself to admit that.
I am. I'm very secure.
So kudos to you.
People like Barbara Streisand.
I know they do.
Okay, thank you. All right. So anyway, where were we?
What is this bizarre segue?
What is this bizarre segue that's happening?
You know I'm going to do it when I turn my head, don't you?
Pretty much.
Okay, so
So we talked about the IMF treaty. Dark is a negotiator. The
Right.
KGB. Blah blah
Oh,
blah.
the detective, right.
Yeah.
So he's doing that. Stein interrupts them, the young Stein,
hmm
who they have.
Yeah, we get the
found out-
return of young Marty Stein.
Right, and he is somehow involved in all this, and the our time Marty Stein
Yep.
is alarmed because he was never a part of that. He
Well-
doesn't remember any of it.
Well, and apparently, older Stein, our Stein, is pissed off at his younger self, carrying on the nice time travel tradition of time travelers not getting along with their other selves,
Right.
but that older Martin wants to know why younger Martin isn't with his wife.
Right.
Like, I thought he was supposed to be at this dinner, and apparently younger Martin blew off that dinner to
Anniversary dinner, birthday dinner.
yeah, something big like that, that it was
Right.
apparently pretty important,
Hmm.
and to go off and like follow Damien Dark around to where he's meeting the KGB.
Right. And instead, Clarissa ordered room service.
Yeah.
So, wah, wah.
You should have done one of your story titles as Clarissa Explains It All.
Clarissa explains nothing.
Yeah. Well, there was a great scene though I loved where older Martin goes to Clarissa,
Anthrax.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they're there at this state dinner, and oh yeah, where's our dinner music? There we go. Yeah, so that they're at state dinner, and there's a little bit of dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Where older Stein dances with his younger wife, because who wouldn't pull that move off?
Right?
You got to be with your wife only a lot years younger, decades
That's right.
younger. So, and don't tell me you wouldn't do that, because of course you would.
Of course you would. Yeah, but did we hear the song that was going on outside?
Oh yeah, what was that song?
Down.
Danger Zone.
That's right.
Yep.
We hear the actual, like, Top Gun version of Danger Zone.
Highway to the danger zone.
That's right. And then as they go into the party, it turns into the music version of the Danger Zone song, which is hilarious, I thought. And then, we go into this kind of music as they dance. She, of course, recognizes Jax, because not only was Jax there when they were younger,
right,
in the university episode last season.
Yeah, at Ivy University.
Right, but now he has come to tell Clarissa earlier in the episode, Martin can't make it back right now, but he says he's sorry and he'll meet you at the party or whatever the deal. After Martin gets stabbed by Damien.
Right.
And not only does the younger Martin feel it, but the older Martin also feels getting stabbed.
So here's the question of the day then. All the stuff that happens between younger Martin getting stabbed and older Martin feeling stabbed. So like all the previous Legends of Tomorrow episodes means that he was stabbed during those episodes.
I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it might have just been the proximity.
Yeah.
To him.
It just seems like a terrible, like,
it is.
temporal paradox.
It is.
That
it's terrible.
Shouldn't be there, or at least
felt it right away.
A time travel writing flaw, story flaw.
He shouldn't have felt it right away.
Yeah.
He should have maybe had a scar later in the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe he's like lifting up his shirt earlier in the episode, notices a scar forming. And it's like, what's happened with that?
Right. Exactly. And then he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
Maybe was Wendy part of the writing?
I don't know.
Anyway, he's taken on.
Well, Guggenheim is a producer on this. Producer on the show. Yeah. Showrunner on this. Just saying.
It's not a deal breaker for me.
Okay, moving on.
I can handle that.
Moving on.
So anyway, they take him on board to help with the healing. He wants to know everything. He wants Martin to let him in on all the secrets of time travel. And
older Martin isn't playing.
No, he's not. And the younger Martin
says, like, you're an idiot.
Believe that you would be so selfish as to not give me all these secrets. And the older Martin is saying, I can't believe that you are such a dick.
Yes, and you're skipping out on your wife.
Right.
Your focus should be on Clarissa.
Right. And he kind of teaches his younger self a lesson, although how long that sticks, I don't know. He is kind of a dick.
Yeah. But he does have a great conversation with Clarissa, older Martin does, about trying to explain that, okay, he may, like, my younger self may be a dick, but he still loves you.
Right. And he does get better.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Exactly. It gets better. It ggets better.
Right. And that's my whole Ein Dummerstein storyline. And then Eobard and Damien have a bit of a coming together. Of course, Damien has lived many, many years, 40 years.
Right.
Whereas Eobard snapped.
Yeah, he does time traveling back and forth.
Right. And they have a conversation about that. And near the end of the episode, after Damien has been foiled, he realizes that although Sarah has let him off easy, and I'll talk about that in a minute, she picked his pocket and stole the technology.
Yep.
He and Eobard decide they're going to go time traveling together, and thus starts our forming of the
Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom.
Dun.
I'm doing that one.
Okay. Ooh. Let's change it up.
A little different. Yeah. Okay, so one of the things I really liked about this episode was Sarah's reaction. Sarah has been really going off the rails about Damien, and they called her out on it. So I guess going against the rules only applies when it's in your favor.
Jax calls her out on it, especially.
Yeah. And that, I thought, kind of woke her up, and she confronts him, and instead of killing him,
Well, this is the
points out-
second time.
Right.
Because first time she tries to
Time
kill him
she
again.
gets killed.
She tries to kill him again. Now remember, she's done this before,
Right.
and it's failed miserably.
Right.
So of course it fails miserably again.
Right. Because they're trying to stop her.
Well, you know,
And this time
she gets all like rampage.
And it was the crossing of the streams between Ray and...
Apparently, Ray has never seen Ghostbusters to not know you don't cross the streams.
He's going to try and fix it, though, so that you can cross the streams. So it's going to end up being...
There will be a payoff later.
Right.
Yeah.
So Sarah confronts Damien later in the episode, and instead of killing him, as he is expecting, but
Yep.
he figures out she's not going to do it, she says, no, I'm going to let you go through with it because I know your future, this arc that you're building. And she tells him all these things that are going to happen.
What am I doing? What am I doing?
You're face-palming, but why are you doing that?
I'll tell you why after you're done.
Okay.
Finish your thought.
She tells him all these things, and then she says, I know what you're going to do. You're going to lose your wife, and you're going to almost kill... So you think he's going to subvert that now?
Yes!
Telling him the whole
Yes, of course. Why?
Oh.
You know that's going to bite him in the ass. You know that.
I guess so.
That's why I'm face palming.
Yeah. But I thought it was cool at the moment when she did it.
Sure,
because we didn't know he was going to
Sure, it's cool that she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to learn. Guess what? You know, you're going to suck at this, and your kid's going to die, and you're going to screw everything up, and then...
Right.
No, but now he can go like, okay, that's the thing. Initially, Damien Dark didn't want to go with Eobard at the beginning of the episode. Eobard makes him this offer. It's like, hey, let's supervillain team up.
Right.
And he's like, no, I ain't got time for that.
Right.
And then
now
he does because Sarah told him this. Is like, maybe we need to make some changes.
Right. Now, if Sarah had just said, because I know what's going to happen,
right,
and your life is full of pain,
yeah,
and then walked away, that would have been
that would have been fine. But now she's responsible for the creation of the Legion of Doom. Well done, Sarah.
Yeah, dumbass.
So this is why this is why I'm face palming.
I'm going to have to lower my rating.
You get this is
no, okay. I already lowered.
That's true, you did, but I kind of like this episode. So
my rating is way lower.
I'm a sucker for an '80s episode.
Well, I love the fact that Lance Henriksen was in it, and I liked the episode overall, but some of it was just way too convoluted for me.
Okay, so what's your
in there and everything?
Oh, I love that stuff. But go ahead. Maybe some people don't.
3 seconds left to go. Come on.
Well, that was a cliche, but yeah. And I've got to dismantle the cold gun to stop the bomb.
Right. Dumb.
Just throw the thing out the window and stuff. And
exactly.
Yeah.
I give it 7.5 shoulder pads.
Right.
Because Vixen realized that she had to wear shoulder pads in an animal print.
Yeah.
Did you notice animal print?
Yes, I got that.
Very nice.
I thought that was very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Okay.
So I love this episode. I'm a sucker for, like I said, I'm a sucker for the 80s episode. I love that Lance Henriksen was there. He was awesome as an older Obsidian. I'm still kind of annoyed that Obsidian was in his prime in the 40s instead of the 80s at least, but I'm still cool with Lance Henriksen being there, so that's points there. I loved the whole bit with Marty and younger Marty. You know, Stein, Marty. No,
younger Marty.
Younger Marty. So it's so great to have those two, like older Stein being so pissed off at his younger self. I love that. So I love that. 8.5 mystery boxes. Because that's what this was. We still don't know what that thing was inside the box, do we?
Mm-mm.
So it's mystery box.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Pain.
Yeah. No. Okay. Oh, sorry. 7 reset.
Movies.
7.
Yeah.
I know. All right.
7 and
last show.
Luke Cage 107. Suckers need bodyguards.
I love that title, and that's probably going to be my title for this week.
Okay, good. I like that one.
Suckers need bodyguards.
I give it a thumbs up. Let's make it.
All right, cool. All right, written by Nathan Lewis Jackson, directed by Sam Miller.
Okay. I'm giving you a heads up again in case you've forgotten. The actor that played what's the cop's name?
Oh, you mean Misty Knight?
No. The bad cop.
Scarf.
Okay. The actor that played Scarf.
Yeah.
Was Brett.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
Right.
Okay.
He was.
Where my A title comes from. Describe what Cottonmouth looks like.
Nice. Very nice.
Does he look like a bitch to you?
That was an important setup.
Exactly.
You had to set that
You
up for
have
people,
to know.
especially if you hadn't seen Pulp Fiction. Which,
Exactly.
if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction, something's wrong with you.
Right.
'Cause that's
Say what again?
Yeah. Well, let's leave it at that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Okay. And B
So now
story.
you get that.
I do get that. Thank you for the setup.
You're welcome. Mariah Carey, the weight.
Nice. I get that one.
And she's a hero magnet.
Okay.
That is a night nurse.
Yes. Yes. Claire. Claire
Yeah.
Temple.
I like night nurse though.
Yeah, I do too. But yeah, it's yeah.
She's night nurse.
Well, so is what's her name in Doctor Strange movie?
Yeah, I know.
So
Okay, Claire. I'll call
yeah,
it Claire.
yeah, Claire.
Say, describe what Cottonmouth looks like.
Yeah. So old Cottonmouth. Yeah. Big episode with Stokes here because Scarf attempts to blackmail Stokes.
Yeah, and he's got a good case for it,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't he? He says, I want $100,000 more dollars. And he is really trying to put on that, like I just did.
Yeah.
Describe what Cottonmouth looks
Right,
like. He's
right.
trying to do that.
Yeah.
And he's not doing the best job. Like, I'm not doing the best job. I'm very white.
That's okay.
And
We won't hold that against you.
I'm admitting it.
Okay.
And I think he thinks he's doing a good job.
Well, he does that. He's been the whole this series.
Yeah.
Like, I'm black cop, even though I'm
I'm a-
like whiter than white.
Right. And he
Because
says
because I'm a cop in Harlem. Apparently I need to talk black. What's up with that?
he shouldn't, though.
He really shouldn't.
Because he's really drawing attention to himself, right?
I don't know why Misty doesn't call him out on that.
Why
but,
don't they call him out on it?
yeah.
And Cottonmouth says, well, I ain't giving you a penny more. And he says, well, that's good because I don't want a penny. I want $100,000. That's what he says to him.
You're right. He does.
I loved that line,
Yeah.
by the way. But it leads to Cottonmouth pretty much just ripping him up with
Yeah.
his own gun.
Yeah. Because old Scarf ends up critically wounded
Mm-hmm.
and ends up escaping to Pop's barbershop, what's left of it,
Right?
and where he
With
gives...
2 chairs, by the way.
What?
Did you hear? Luke tells... Who does he go there with? Misty? No, not Misty. He goes there with Claire,
Oh.
right?
Yes. Well,
With Claire.
Well, eventually, yeah, because what happens... Well, first he gives Cage this ledger with incriminating evidence,
Right, but who does he drag?
but then he goes...
Starts there,
Claire ends up tracking down Luke at her mother's diner,
right?
and then from there they go back to the barber shop.
Right. And he tells Claire that... Who's the guy who inherited the barbershop? The guy he was...
Hold on.
Bobby Fish?
Bobby Fish, yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
he says, these are new chairs. Bobby Fish is going to kill me.
Yeah, pretty
He
much.
actually says that.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like all the blood on everything.
Well, here's the funny part. They still have the plastic sheets on them, and they laid Scarf on top of the plastic sheets. So I'm pretty sure the chairs are going to be fine.
Yeah, I am too. I just thought it was a funny line.
Yeah, it was.
You know, dragging the guy in there. And his first thought is for the chairs.
Well, think about it. I would care more about the chairs than Scarf.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah, but Scarf actually, before he expires from
Mm-hmm.
these gunshots, he gives them all the evidence they need to nail Cottonmouth, which is a good thing. And it's poetic as well because his son shot himself with that same gun.
Right.
So, like father, like son, I guess.
I guess so.
Both killed with his service weapon. Not the best portrait on that weapon. So that's kind of Cottonmouth's storyline.
Yeah, because we probably should go to Mariah.
Right. So Mariah is giving an interview, and while she's being interviewed on her steps, the episode opens with Luke jogging through Harlem. And
Yeah, because he rose by Mariah's brownstone, basically just to go like, "Hey, I'm coming for you.
That's right, with the eyes.
With the eyes going like, you see me, I see you.
But I
I'm
like
going-
the open because, what's her name from Jessica Jones?
Trish Walker. So we get, a nice little connection to another connection to Jessica Jones.
Right. And
And-
she's talking about how people that don't know Luke personally
Right.
are afraid of him, but the people who know him are telling a different story.
Yes. So she's
And-
basically playing up Luke on her radio show.
Right. And
Yeah.
then after
Building the legend.
after another scene, they show him jogging in front of Mariah's brownstone where she's outside giving this interview, and he pretty much says, you and Cottonmouth, I know what you're doing, and I will get you.
I see you.
Right. I'm pretty much going to nail you guys to the wall.
Yep.
And he gets that opportunity when Scarf gives him all that information. He passes it on to Misty, and down goes Cottonmouth
Right.
at the end of the episode. But during the interview,
Now, Scarf
The-
dies from his injuries, though,
oh yes,
because we had this whole big deal where, like, Stokes' men are going at, like, they're trying to find Scarf and kill him, and then they're trying, Misty and Luke are trying to keep, or I'm sorry, Luke and Claire are trying to keep Scarf alive.
right. Yeah, there's a whole big deal,
There's a
but
whole big deal, yeah.
it didn't work.
Okay.
Um,
So Mariah ends up having an interview, like we were talking
Yeah.
about.
but it's kind of an ambush
Yeah.
where the reporter is showing pictures of her with Cottonmouth and her with her grandfather and grandmother, who
Yeah.
were like bad guys in Harlem. And,
So what about this connection to Cottonmouth and the Crispus Attic Center that you have?
right, exactly.
And then, yep. Oh, and then she gets a follow-up question because she comes back and says, "Hey, you want to comment on your cousin getting arrested?"
right, and of course this comes out of the blue because it has just happened,
Right.
and Mariah doesn't know about it, and the reporter gets taken away, and she says the S word over and over again.
Right.
Which I can't say here, but she is in shock and she doesn't know what to do, and she knows now that Luke is coming for her.
Right. And one of the things she's been worrying about the whole season is that her rep is going to take a hit now because of Cottonmouth. Because he screwed up, so she's mad.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reporter has just made that connection
Mm-hmm.
between her and Cottonmouth now in the interview. Cottonmouth has gotten taken down, and guess what?
Yep.
Connection.
Yep.
So
And there's some more police corruption because it turns out that Lieutenant Perez
Mm-hmm.
from IA is actually on the take and was
That's right.
going after Misty Knight finds out that he's on Cottonmouth's payroll
Right.
and tricks him, like they're in a car together,
Right.
and she gets him to incriminate himself she recorded it on her cell phone,
Right.
and he tries to shoot her when it pulls a gun on her. She fights him off. She does this cool move where, like, basically, like, she gets a hold of the gun, and she's keeping him at bay with her leg,
Right.
and then backs out of the car door, the driver's
Right.
side, still holding the gun on Perez,
Right.
which I thought that was a cool move.
And then she says, handcuff yourself,
Right.
which I thought was awesome. And could you see her doing that with like high-heeled white leather boots on
Yeah.
as Misty Knight? I
Well-
could really see
Well,
that.
she still doesn't have her bionic arm from the comics yet.
That's true.
That's coming. I'm betting
But she's awesome.
that she is
I
awesome.
love her. And also, Claire is in this, and she sees Luke in the diner,
hmm
and Luke is eating with Bobby, and Bobby gets up, and Luke doesn't recognize her, obviously.
Well, he was unconscious.
Was completely unconscious. But she says, I was the one who helped you when you were shot.
Oh yeah, hi.
Well, she realizes that he wouldn't recognize her. So she sits down and they have a bit of a talk, and she says, How? How are you still
alive?"
here?
Yeah.
And they kind of have a talk, and he says, yeah, I know I'm different. And she says, you are awesome. Pretty much she's happy. And she kind of outlines that, she's okay with all these different different people.
Right.
So she, again, she's a hero magnet. She is just...
Well, she only has to have one more to complete the set. All she has to do is meet Iron Fist.
That's right.
And we've got ourselves our Phil Coulson, who brings the Defenders together.
That's right. So, yeah.
You know that's coming.
Yeah. Has she met the Punisher?
I don't think she's met the Punisher, but the Punisher's not part of the Defenders.
No, I know, but
yeah.
As far as the Netflix team.
Well, maybe give it time, but because remember, the Punisher is supposed to have his own show.
I know. I'm assuming.
So maybe she'll show up there too.
Yeah. Because she's on all the shows. They can't break her streak.
She's the Phil Coulson. She's the one that connects all the characters.
Even if, it's just a brush by while he's in the hospital, she's got to show up on that one, right?
Yep.
So, again, she shows up and she validates Luke. She tries to save Scarf. It doesn't work, but, there's that buoyancy that she gives the people who try to save New York City. In this case, Harlem. In the other cases, Hell's Kitchen.
Yep.
So.
And Rosario Dawson's always great to watch.
Oh, she's amazing. I love her.
Yep.
And I love the actress who plays her mother again.
I know who. Sophia something. I can't remember her name, but I know who you're talking about. Braga. Oh, yeah, Sonia Braga.
Sonia Braga.
Sorry about that.
You gave me.
I was close. I was close. Yeah, I was just like Sophia. And I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Sonia Braga.
What did you give this one?
I enjoyed this episode a lot. I gave it 8.5 totaled front ends because there's a great scene where Claire and Scarf are about to get run over by an SUV, and guess who steps in the way but old Luke Cage and trashes the hell out of that thing.
That's right.
K's it in.
Slam.
Yep.
It's like
and Claire's just like looking at this going, really?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. So that was cool.
And I give it 8 bloody badges because when Scarf gets shot, he pulls his suit coat aside and his badge is all bloody from where he's shot.
Yep.
So there's that.
So now Misty needs a new partner.
That's true. And it's not going to be the guy from
Internal Affairs.
Internal Affairs.
Yep. All right. So that's our show for all the episodes that we talked about. We got through that.
That's right. Feedback?
Feedback, yeah. Do we have Justina feedback?
We do.
All right, play it.
Hi, Karen and Charles. Supergirl was so great this week. I loved watching Mon-El learn more about Earth's technology and customs, and there was a valuable lesson learned that not everybody learns things in the same way, and the things that helped Kara assimilate into our society may not necessarily be the same things that helped Mon-El. I love the Mrs. Doubtfire reference when Kara had to be Supergirl and Kara at the same party. That's an interesting twist that Lena Luthor was helping Supergirl, and then it was revealed to us that her mother is working with Cadmus. I wonder where that storyline will go. And Alex and Maggie. This part was very important to me. I love that this relationship seems to be developing organically. I'm really glad that they didn't have that conversation and then start kissing or something, because I don't think that would be very true to life. Mm-hmm. And I think how the writers are handling this storyline so far is really beautiful. And I found yet another reason to love the Berlantiverse. They are not afraid to put LGBT characters and relationships into their shows, and I'm really thankful for that. This episode gets 10 out of 10 pieces of licorice. There's a serial killer in Star City, and they're using Oliver's list. I am really happy that they're reintegrating the idea of the book and the list into this story after we've been away from it for so long. And somebody's trying to frame the deputy mayor. My top suspects for Prometheus are Felicity's boyfriend Billy, because I still think he's shifty, and when she told him that she works for the Green Arrow, Billy took it way too good. My second possible suspect, someone from the Bratva that has a score to settle with Oliver. I don't think it's very likely to be Quentin. It's not like there's something special in the whiskey that suddenly changes him into a supervillain. But seriously, with all this trouble, pretty soon Thea's going to be running the city all by herself. I can just imagine the board meetings now. This episode gets 8 out of 10 parachute arrows. Legends was really awesome. I saw all the Miami Vice Easter eggs at the beginning with the boat and the music In the costume choices, our team is facing the problem that I think would be the hardest part of time travel. Wanting to change things about history that you don't like or that have really hurt people, but knowing that you shouldn't change history because the overall effects on the overall timeline would be catastrophic. Sarah is making a beautiful transition between assassin and captain. I fully expect that she will always have a little bit of trouble whenever she has to look Damien dark in the eye, knowing what he's going to do in the future. But I really do respect her self-control and how she's leading this team, even if she does slip up from time to time. But all the legends are going to slip up. We're only human. I'm glad that Ray is discovering that he doesn't need to be like Captain Cold, or even like the Atom with a fancy suit. He is Ray Palmer, and he's amazing, just all by himself. I loved hearing Danger Zone, because Top Gun is my favorite 80s movie.
Danger Zone. Oh, crap. It's going to restart Justina's feedback.
Sorry, Justina.
Oh, man.
Awkward.
Hi, Karen and Charles. Supergirl was my
Yeah, well, sorry, Justina. We
Miami
cut
Vice
you off
Easter eggs
because
at
of
the beginning
we're
with
doing
the
a
boat
gag
and the music
with the
and
Danger
costume
Zone.
Can you hear this or not?
Our team is facing the problem.
Don't worry about it.
that would be the
It's playing
hardest
right
part of
now.
Time travel.
Okay.
Wanting
Just
to
sit
change
there.
things about history that you don't like or that have really hurt people, but knowing that you shouldn't change history because the overall effects on the overall timeline would be catastrophic. Sarah is making a beautiful transition between assassin and captain. I fully expect that she will always have a little bit of trouble whenever she has to look Damien dark in the eye, knowing what he's going to do in the future. But I really do respect her self-control and how she's leading this team, even if she does slip up from time to time. But all the legends are going to slip up. We're only human. I'm glad that Ray is discovering that he doesn't need to be like Captain Cold, or even like the Atom with a fancy suit. He is Ray Palmer, and he's amazing, just all by himself. I loved hearing Danger Zone, because Top Gun is my favorite 80s movie. And this episode gets 9 out of 10 jars of jelly beans that we're going to eat, because we don't follow all the rules. Except for crossing the streams. That's the only one. So in the Berlantiverse, Supergirl wins hands down. Best episode of the week. Have a super week.
All right. There was just a little bit left. So
Okay.
I played it.
Well, Justina, unfortunately, I couldn't hear what you just said.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to listen to the the final version, the final edit of this.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it comes through on Karen's because
It did.
I don't think it came through on my recording. So
No,
we'll
but
find out.
it came through on mine. So
I guess I shouldn't post my recording.
no, you can. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. I just don't want Rob to use my recording and then.
Oh well.
Yeah.
We're
not have
doing
your-
we're doing producing on the air. Oh no.
Okay. Got it.
There was just a little bit where she gave a rating and then she said, "Don't cross the streams." And then she said, "Have a great week."
Okay. So now that we've had Justina, thank you, Justina, for once again sharing your reviews.
Which we love.
We love them, and totally agree with you about old Billy.
Yep.
So
We do.
He's shady.
The Bratva thing, though, I didn't even think about that, which I guess could be.
Yep.
Could be someone from the Bratva.
Okay, so if someone else wanted to send feedback, like Justina, where could they find us, Karen?
They can find us at Fandom Zonecast on Twitter or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fandom Zone Podcast, which I found out today my husband was not following us.
What?
Right? So I forced him to do
He
it.
got on his ass.
I did. And then email us at fandomzonecast@gmail.com.
All right.
So where can they find you?
They can find me, of course, at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, or at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, or Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. Facebook, of course. My blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot.
That's right.
Where I talk about all these comic book shows and more.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
There you go.
There we go. All right, I was waiting for that.
I was waiting for you to break for a minute.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. So, you can check me out there. We can talk about all these comic book shows and more. And, of course, if you're interested and you're so inclined, check me out on Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, which I do with friend of the show, Jesse Jackson.
That is right. It's a good podcast, too. You have really good guest stars.
Thank you. Yeah, really good guest stars. Mm-hmm. The best guest star.
Someone who needs to come back and do another one.
Yeah, you do. I should mention that we're going to be talking about, and Jesse may not know this yet, so you may be privy to secret information.
I like that. That
coming at the beginning of 2017, we're going to start reviewing The Key to Time, the 6-story season of Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who with Tom Baker. If you're so inclined.
Okay.
You like that idea?
Yes.
Yes. She's writing something down.
I am.
So we're going to probably be doing that after the Christmas special.
I'm writing it down.
So look for that in January's 2017.
Okay. And you might have a guest star for that.
Yes, we will.
Depends on the schedule.
Excellent.
All right. And you can find me at Alvaria, and all my other links are there. I'm also on Instagram as Alvaria.
You are?
I have been this whole time. I just don't use it.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah. I never do anything. I just follow other people.
Well,
so.
I could follow you now.
Sure, you can.
I didn't know that. I would do that.
Okay, sure, go for it. I don't ever post anything, but
maybe you will.
Probably not. I don't take any pictures.
Well, maybe you will.
Okay, so I'm
if you see something cool on television, take a picture of that and post it.
Okay. I'm at Alvaria.
Something cool you're watching, or a video game you're doing.
Okay. At Alvaria on the Twitter machine, and also on Instagram. And all my links are in my bio on Twitter.
All right.
They go straight to my blog, Allie's Stuff.
Yep. And check her out on Nice Girls on TV.
Yep. That link is there too. Nice Girls TV.
Yeah, Karen writes some really cool stuff for them. So.
I am Karen L there.
Yeah.
Oddly enough. Karen L. Yeah. I write some weird stuff there.
Yes. But excellent stuff.
Weird. I can't wait to see my Gotham post this week.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Face off, face off, face off, face off, face off, face off, and face off.
Copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste.
I don't. I write a lot of stuff there.
I'm just saying. I'm just a joke.
I do copy and paste, though. Sorry. I do. It's my jokes. Why can't I use them again?
So thanks for everybody that's been following us on Facebook. We're up to 106 followers.
My husband being one of them.
Yeah,
now.
So good job getting him off his butt.
Yeah.
Get him. And if there's somebody else that you know that isn't following us on Facebook, you're feel free. You're officially sanctioned to go after them as well and say, hey, Shakes Fist, why aren't you following the Phantom Zone podcast?
Right.
So tell your friends, tell your enemies, wake the neighbors, phone the kids.
Exactly.
Get them on board.
Dummies.
And, yeah. So thanks to everybody who already is, because you're one of the cool kids.
Exactly.
And we appreciate you.
All right. So that's it for us, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Like, for sure.